Hi, welcome. This is a Yin class for the end of the day. You could really do it any time, but for me it's about 7 or so. It'll just be a nice short decompression, including just a brief beginning with some one shoulder opener, and then we'll get right into the hips. So let's begin in puppy pose. Knees open wide, head down, arms reach forward. I'll give you one other option. So the butt's kind of lifted, arms are reaching forward as you bow your head down. If this already feels like a nice stretch for you, stay. If you feel like you might want a little bit more, work the elbows closer together, prayer palms, prayer hands. Lift the forearm off the ground, reach the hand back to your head, and melt your chest and your armpits toward the ground. You should feel this in the outer area of the armpits. If it's too much, back off, bring that forearm back to the ground. So we'll just stay here for about a minute to arrive and to feel the body letting go, just dropping in. Notice your natural breath. Notice what it feels like to let the head be heavy, to let the head be lower than the heart. Soft breath, slowing everything down after your day. Noticing the rise and fall of your body as you breathe in and you gently breathe out. See if you can begin to relax your face a little bit and let that head feel very heavy to the ground. Begin to release the forearm down. Walk the hands wider apart and ease your way to child's pose with the arms reaching behind you. Just let it be easy. Take a moment. Maybe feel the flesh in the shoulders. We'll ease to tabletop. If you are on a firm floor, you don't have too much cushioning with your mat, you may want to put a blanket under your knees. Step the right foot forward, dragon pose. Left hip crease is back. Left hip crease, is getting a nice little stretch. So I like this kind of slow yoga at the end of the day for me. The good thing is that the body is ready to relax, doesn't feel like you have all this extra energy. In terms of me teaching, my mind does not work as well at this point, so I'm just kind of in that lazy mode. Hi, Georgia. It's time to relax. So we're feeling through that left hip crease, just taking a little bit of time to open up through that left psoas, relaxing the back of the leg. You may feel this in the right hip as well. We'll get a little bit more into that in a moment. Georgia, go lay down. Lay down. Another few rounds of breath here. Feeling the melt of the left hip crease. Begin to back off your hips, working the hips back. Ease that right leg toward the center. Brief hamstring stretch for that right leg, but really feel the left hip crease. Even after the shorter hold there for dragon, feel the flush and the tonic in that left hip crease. Simultaneously getting a nice stretch for the right leg. Just a moment or two here, relaxing your neck, your head. Next is half pigeon for the right leg. If you hear a little sound in the background, that is Georgia with the chewy. I'm hoping to distract her. So she's eating that now. And sneak the right ankle across your mat and the right knee comes down. If half pigeon doesn't work for you, switch to your back. You can do a thread the needle. Even if half pigeon does work, but it feels like something you're not into right now, lay on your back and thread the needle, crossing right ankle over left thigh and hugging that formation in. Otherwise, if half pigeon works, you'll lift up a bit. Now that that left hip crease is a little more open, you may more easily bow down. You can, of course, set yourself up with any prop you need. One option is to weave your left arm under the right to simultaneously get a little shoulder stretch, a little less of a twist, more of just kind of melting your body over your left shoulder. If that takes away from the hip stretch, maybe not worth it. If it feels aggravating, maybe skip it. But just find something you can really relax into for a few minutes as we breathe space into that right outer hip. It feels so good to me to take a little bit of time at the end of the day to just reset and give the body some nourishment, replenishment. It also helps to process and metabolize the day and let things go to prepare for that sleeping time, which is also where your body does reset and restore. But there's something about an awakened restoration that's very helpful. So see if you can just tune into that right hip as you breathe in, melt, and relax. Just listening, just noticing everything's welcome, accepting everything in, comes and goes. Noticing if the pelvis can start to get a little bit heavier into the ground, into your mat. Noticing if there's anything you can get into and release. Might be just something in your mind or a thought or a pattern that's been kind of hanging on there that you're ready to just let go. There might be some residue of tension in your forehead, temples, jaw, that at this point you can just start to relax. Don't have to think anymore. Your day's over. Just come to rest. Last few breaths here. Start to unwind that arm if it's under you. Take a moment. We'll simply gently roll to our back. I like releasing half pigeon in a yin style by just rolling toward that right leg. And it's just kind of easily flopping over and make it easy. So I'm sort of off my mat as I straighten my leg and I'm like, that's fine. I don't feel like moving. Maybe shake out the legs a little. You could scooch your way to your mat. And we'll do one more and then we'll do it all on the other side. Hug your right knee into chest. Maybe give it a little circle. Sometimes it's nice to straighten that leg. Get a little movement after that hold there. This is a spinal twist. Last one. Maybe place that right foot and just kind of step it above the knee, the opposite knee. Use your left hand to guide it over. This will set up the hips. So your right hip will be right over the left. And you can reach that right arm out. If this feels like too much of a twist, you have some back stuff, it doesn't feel good, and just like, that feeling. Bend both knees. And if that still doesn't work, put a couple pillows in between your knees. That should help ease that up a little bit. Always do less. So just find what's going to be easy. It's okay if that right shoulder isn't completely down. You could also put some sort of cushion under your right shoulder. Find out where your head wants to be. So sometimes in a more active style class, we might turn our head to the right. But in a passive yin style, it's nice as an option to either keep the head looking up or even look in the same direction as the knee. It's very tender. Just kind of find where it feels, not where you're used to turning your head. Sometimes there's a habit that happens when you go into a twist for yoga practitioners and they just immediately bring their head to the right. Now, if right now that feels delightful and delicious, go with it. There's nothing wrong with it. But see what feels easy and gentle. Sometimes for me, just my head halfway to the left feels really good. It doesn't feel like the neck has effort at all. Even the left hand that's supporting, just anchoring through the right thigh, notice if there's a grip there and soften that. Softening through your fingers and your toes and just staying here for a few more moments. This rinse, this unwinding. I love to think of the twist as not just a great adjustment and flush for the body, for the spine. Georgia, I'm trying to relax here. But a nice unwinding for the mind. Georgie, take a breath in. Take a breath out. My dog gets in this after dinner play mode, as if I didn't already take her on 3 different kinds of things all day. And she wants to play. Georgie, it's time to go to sleep now. So we'll slowly start to unwind the shape, gently laying all the way on our back, adjusting, just feeling in between. We've done a bunch of different things, sort of on one side, just laying your body out, taking a breath in, taking a breath out. Shake out the legs, roll to either side, rise up to a tabletop. We won't do the second puppy, but if you want, just for a moment, you can reach the hips back, kind of elongate through that spine for a moment. And now ease into your tabletop. Maybe set up a blanket under your knees. Left foot steps forward, right hip crease, right psoas gets the stretch now. As you settle in here, notice the feeling. Notice where you're Feeling the sensation. For me, this side feels very different than the other. And we're not analyzing it or having a discussion about it. Just notice. It's nice to feel how the body receives the stillness and the quiet, like nourishment for the soul. Since we're not here for a full 5 minutes, it's just a few minutes. See what you can do to let your pelvis drop, and notice if there's something kind of holding you back from letting go. Not sure if you can see my sweet little Georgie there. This is her process of going to sleep. Takes a while sometimes. Digs and tosses pillows, and the other day she took all the covers off and all the sheets off. Somehow she managed to get everything off. Noticing what you can do for these last few breaths here to just release what's holding, soften your face. Feel the sensation in the right hip crease, and maybe change if it kind of feels like fire, it's a little fiery, but see if you can receive the sensation as the goodness and the health to your body, rather than work or making it feel better for later. This moment exactly right now is the healing. Another 2 rounds of breath, just natural, easy breath, less effort. Begin to back off of the stretch slowly, hips toward that back foot. Feel the flush in the right hip crease. Fresh blood, oxygenated blood, all giving you a nice tonic for that right hip crease. Inch the left heel forward. A brief hamstring stretch, you're not trying to get your head down or to the toes, you're just feeling a little length through the back of your left leg. Our next shape is half pigeon or thread the needle for the left hip. Hinging forward again, inching the left ankle across. Maybe starting upright for a moment to settle into the hips. The more you bring that left foot to the head of the mat, you have more stretch. The more you bring that left foot in, a little bit less. Let's just make it easy. As you start to bow your chest down, you might stay here for a moment, or if you want, you could add your shoulder stretch as you're ready. The right arm might weave under the left. Rather than making it a big twist, just let it be more about that right shoulder melting. If it distracts from the hip at all, maybe not worth it. We're here for a few minutes.
Noticing if there's a hold in the jaw, the forehead, and easing, giving your face permission to relax, just to let go. Any tension, any angst, any irritation that came up through the day, which just happens because we're human beings. Just kind of letting it melt away and just processing it so it doesn't linger and doesn't stick anywhere for longer than we need it to. And let every breath be this inhale, this massage to the organs, to the body, and every exhale, this clearing, this washing away of anything stuck or holding that we don't need. I was thinking about that that whole idea of, I forgot her name, but she has a book and maybe even a show on clearing your things, the clutter of your house. And it always stuck with me, does this bring you joy when you see it? Like if it's something you have in your house, and if it doesn't, then you let it go. And it always makes me think of the body and the emotions, and of course things are going to bring us things other than joy, but if we have a choice, does this person or does this movement in my body bring me peace, and does this help me? Does this satisfy me? Does this nurture me? I think about that in Yin. And if not, maybe do something different, maybe switch it. Does this person, do I feel good when I'm around this person? Maybe let it go. Our life is precious. Another minute or so here. For these last few breaths, what part of your body can just get heavier? Feeling the support underneath you, feeling how you're held. Can you just melt? Can your pelvis drop in a little deeper? Can that in turn unwind the low back a bit, giving some space from the hips to the back? Start to unwind that arm if you have that arm variation. As you lift up a bit, getting the drool, roll to the left, and make it easy as you can. Just kind of flop your way slowly to your back. Laying out to receive the shape. Feeling maybe the flush through the left leg, maybe some tingles. Shake it out a bit. Hug left knee to chest. Maybe rinse through that ankle. You might straighten leg or give yourself a little happy baby with the left leg. Step left foot on right thigh, right above the knee. Right hand guides that leg across. Left arm, you can stretch it out. Also feel free to bend both knees And happen to have a pillow that Georgia tossed off the bed. It's nice to put the pillow in between the knees. That feels really relaxing. It's a little easier on the back if there's any tension there. So just find that shape that works for you. Notice the back of your head. Maybe massaging the back of your skull, slowly rocking head side to side. And just tuning in, where does it feel less effortful? Where does it feel like your head can very much be held? Because it is. But it really can feel safe to drop into the ground. And it might be to the left, it might be straight up. It's nice to investigate because it's often different every day. It's nice to have a beginner's mind. So rather than just going into the pattern or the habit or what the shape that you do every time, just going right there, be curious, because this is our process of getting to know our body and our being and our emotions better. It's really very much the art of becoming your very own best friend. And in turn, growing compassion for others. Notice when a breath comes. Notice when it goes, and feeling that rinsing effect of the exhale washing away anything that might be stuck or holding. Maybe a thought pattern that's just ready to let go. Maybe even a person that you're ready to let go. Not because they're bad, something's wrong with them, but because maybe for you, the timing, or maybe they're not a helpful person for you. So we send them love, we send them care, and we take care. We take care of our precious being in this time that we have. Relaxing your eyes, relaxing your face. A few more breaths. Begin to unwind to your back for Savasana. If you have anything close by and handy to put under your knees, that's lovely. Thanks, Georgia. If you have something a blanket if it's cold, or something to put on your eyes, maybe some weight. Sometimes I even just like to put my hands and rest them on my belly. Calming, nourishing. And just that gentle weight feels grounding. Letting your head feel heavy. Feeling your pelvis heavy as well. And we'll just be here for a minute or so. Enjoy.
breath in. Let it out. Bend your knees, roll to either side, keeping your eyes closed if you can. Supporting your own head, feeling the nourishment, the nurture. Rise to a seat. So although you may be alone home and I'm here by myself, I don't feel alone. I feel you. We're connecting. We're together in this. And there's so many others joining. So as we fold palms to prayer, a gesture of connection, a gesture of belonging. We're all together. We're not separate. We're connected. Thank you so much for joining. Sending peace and love. Namaste.